Everybody, it is your boy, Marcus Johnson. We are back. We got another brand that is working with us that we want you guys to support. So check this out. He's a Raiders fan, the owner as well. Panda Supplements. We got discount code 35% off. Discount code TDL for 35% off. Now, what is Panda Supplements? Panda Supplements is your typical nutritional supplements with a lot of different flavor because everything is natural, right? So you're getting you get the proteins, you got the green drinks, you got the pre-workouts, whatever you want, we got that with Panda Supplements. So make sure you check this out. One of my favorite ones, the Sleepy supplement. This one helps me get some sleep because I don't sleep doing these films. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I do these all night. So I need some help getting to sleep. I hate my Panda Supplements. One of my other favorite ones right here is the greens, right? The green superfood. Get you some immune boosts, right? You know what I mean? Laser focused, digestive enzymes, you know what I'm saying? Help everything get better down here as well. So, it's a whole lot of things. We got some focus as well. So go ahead, check out the website. Like I said, Panda Supplements, discount code TDL for 35% off. Check it out. Everybody, we are back. It is Tape Don't Lie. It's your favorite Raiders podcast, favorite Raiders channel, favorite Raiders everything. We are back. Make sure you guys already know what to do. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you dislike it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also, make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at BD Williams 18 for BD. And, you all see at the bottom, Panda Supplements, discount code TDL for 35% off. All right, so make sure you guys represent and go ahead and support, right? Panda Supplements, pandasupps.com. Make sure you guys go up there and check that out for sure. All right, BD, we got the depth chart. The depth chart is out. I did my time at training camp. I acted like I was a media guy for a little bit. I didn't ask any questions because, I wanted to soak it in. I wanted to see how everything kind of worked. You know what I mean? I wanted to kind of just jump into something I don't really know about, to be honest. And
okay,
but it was a good experience, though.
I mean, let's start the show off like that. So I mean, talk about being there, training camp on the sideline. First of all, you had a press pass, so you had that kind of like exclusive access, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah. What'd you learn coming from not a journalist perspective, because we get the beat writer perspective all the time, right?
Yeah.
Coming from a guy who watches film, you're used to watching X's and O's, so you're watching it live. What are your takeaways?
I think that NFL practice is easy as hell. I think that's the first takeaway. I was like, man, if high school football practice was like this, man, how many kids would come out? That's what I was thinking. Saying there'd be a lot more kids playing football if all football practice was like that, in my opinion. Kind of just, kind of relax, right?
It's like basic training, though. Okay, because you're coming off the couch. All right, 9 times out of 10, guys showing up to football practice out of shape. All right, that's the problem.
Yeah.
All right. If we had these kids playing 3 sports all year round, we could be a little bit more lax in football practice, right? But they're playing video games all year round and then showing up to football practice.
Yeah. But it was interesting to me. Just that was probably the most thing that popped out at me a little bit. I mean, senior bowl practice was tougher than that, man. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I feel like senior just watching it live in the front. I was like, man, these guys are just chilling, they're dancing, doing sluggo drills, and just catching the ball. They're dancing to music, and just a whole vibe out there. You know what I mean? I'm in the
NFL. There are definitely going to be people who hear this and go, the Raiders they're not working hard enough. They're going to come back to this. Any struggles that the Raiders have this year, they're going to come back to this episode and be like, Marcus.
Dog, I bet that's every NFL practice, though. I really feel like I'm sure there's NFL practices that are like even more turned up than that because the music cut off when they got to like the 11-on-11s and 7-on-7s. They didn't play any music. It was just during like the drills, the opening drills a little bit. He gave him a little taste of it, like 10 minutes of music. Here's your 10 minutes of hip hop, and then no more music. Let's get to the X's and O's. But
Yeah.
I thought a couple of things I noticed, which are just a couple of tidbits I really didn't talk about on live stream, is that they're gonna be really up tempo, which I really like. They're gonna be moving fast.
Very good.
I think they're gonna be moving really, really fast, calling plays. They're getting ready for audibles in loud places. You know what I mean? They're playing a lot of noise, getting rid of audibles, doing some drills like that, kind of like doing some walkthrough type of stuff. So, I mean, just watching Josh McDaniels practice and how kind of they come with that Patriots mindset of, you know, the small things. Because, you know, doing that loud noise and just practicing the audibles in the loud noise, I thought that's like a really small tidbit that not everybody would think of because they really weren't trying to go full speed at that moment, right? It wasn't really about a full speed trying to figure out. They're trying to work on communicating when they can't hear each other. Right. So they know the checks. What's the checks? Make sure they're doing the checks correct. You know what I mean? Make sure they're doing the right things. Make sure they're knowing the lines, knowing where the checks are. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, to me, that sounds like getting ready. Like, look at who the Raiders play. Okay, I mean, where are the loudest stadiums in the NFL? Seattle and Kansas City. Kansas City, right? Like that's two time. I mean, one time at least, right? That we're gonna play in Kansas City. So you know the Raiders getting ready for that environment early on. I think that you see maybe they like this is the goal, beating Kansas City. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're built to beat those teams, man. I feel like that's just what they're trying to do. So I feel like they got some tough corners outside that can push around some of these finesse teams. I mean, the Chargers are a finesse team. Chiefs are a finesse team. I think they got some physical corners that can push guys around. They want Nate Hobbs to get physical. They want Amik Robinson to get physical like this. So I think, you know, Amik's having a good camp and he's getting a lot of run because he's always a physical corner. He's not scared to get in that mess. He's not scared. And he has some great reps against Hunter Renfrow that I really liked. And I think he's ready to take the next step. Right? And just if they get that mentality out of him, where we're not trying to put him in zone and make him do a couple crazy things. When you know we want to move some guys around, we can bring him in, put him in the slot, play press man in the red zone or something like that. And Patrick Graham is not scared to have specialty corners. I think that's a thing that we're going to start seeing too.
Man, you didn't. No. Sneaky, Marcus. You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me about Meek Robertson locking down on the from the slot.
I didn't tell you. Oh, I didn't tell you that. Yeah, I think it was the play.
You put that on Twitter. You put that on Twitter.
Oh, I did. That. Oh, I did.
Okay.
I did. I think I did.
All right. So
I mentioned it in the live stream though, because
I've been. Okay. So let's look at it like this. Okay. I mean, well, I'll save that. But the reason why I brought up Kansas City, okay. Look, you're talking about crowd noise. They're beating crowd noise. Okay, you're talking about some of the defensive personnel. You told me you saw a bunch of dime out there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of dime.
Dime is for Kansas City, right? It's for and Los Angeles Chargers, teams who don't run the ball, obviously, right? You're getting dime. Okay,
yeah.
So I mean, it's always gonna be an upgrade if you got instead of Denzel Perryman, you got Jonathan Abram right there. It's going to be a slight upgrade, right? And coverage wise, right? Yeah. So that's, I mean, obviously, if you're telling me that you're seeing a lot of that personnel grouping, you're telling me they're practicing for crowd noise. It seems to me like Kansas City is on the agenda. That's the team that they're getting ready to play against and beat. Like they're spending their entire summer getting ready for Kansas City.
Well, they're the kings of the AFC West, man. I mean, they have won the AFC West. I don't know how many times since Andy Reid's been there. Probably.
I don't want to count.
Don't want to count it. Don't even want to count how many times it's happened. But you know,
we're not going to count on this show, right? Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Some of those things. I definitely want to talk about Amik Robertson when we get to the defensive part of the depth chart here. So we're going to talk about offensive part of the depth chart. We're going to talk about defensive part of the depth chart. I want to talk to you about offensive line, though.
Okay.
Because I'm hearing a lot of stuff, okay, coming out of the beat reporters, coming out, tweets from beat reporters, and it's making it seem as though Leatherwood, this guy's fighting for a roster spot. And the depth chart comes out today, and the guy's the starting right tackle on the depth chart. Okay, so what's happening? Okay, what's happening that's making these guys, these beat reporters, think that Leatherwood isn't in good standing, even though he clearly is just fine.
He's not out there with Colton Miller a lot, basically. He's not out there with Colton Miller a lot. Brandon Parker is. There's a main five, I guess, that runs with Derek Carr, you can say at this point, and it's Parker, Cotton, James, Simpson, and Miller, right? Simpson and James and Miller, I mean, their positions are pretty much locked. I mean, sometimes Parham will come in for Simpson, but it's like once every 15 snaps, maybe. You know what I mean? He could Parham comes in for Cotton a lot more than he comes in for Simpson. So it's mostly, I think it's a little bit of a battle between Parham and Cotton. I'm not going to say Cotton has that job, right? I think that's, some people are trying to already put him there. I'm not going to say that. I think Parham has a really good chance to take that from him. All right, it's that chance is there. He's not taking center from Andre James, I don't think, though. I think there's. Go ahead.
I'm curious about this rotation that you're talking about here. Okay, so when Derek Carr is under center, right? You're telling me Leatherwood is not in there at right tackle ever?
He is. Sometimes, yes.
Okay, gotcha. It's just
more often than
at the same time as Colton Miller and Derek Carr and those guys all together. Those two
no. Sorry. Let me bring this back. So Leatherwood is really going in and out with Parker. So Parker will probably play 4 snaps, and then Leatherwood would do 2 or 3 snaps, and then they'll go second team. Or if Parker would do, if they're doing more snaps with the first team, Parker would do 6 snaps, and then Leatherwood will come and do 4 snaps, and then they switch it out. Or another thing they were doing a lot, which, I saw Vic Tafer tweet out 2 days after I tweeted it out, but that's fine. That the Brandon Parker was playing left tackle while Leatherwood was playing right tackle. So that happened a lot too, because they're trying to get some work just in case Miller goes down. Parker moves right over to the left tackle. Okay, so
ladies and gentlemen, what does that mean about Brandon Parker?
He's the swing tackle.
He's a swing tackle. These guys have seen it. They've seen it with their own eyes, and they're just saying Leatherwood, he's fighting for a roster spot.
That's what I thought too. I'm like, he's the swing tackle then. I thought that on Thursday. It was funny. I was talking to other reporters, and they're watching it with me, right? And I was like, yeah, they keep moving Brandon Parker to left tackle a lot. And so I guess he's just the swing tackle. Right? That's basically, he's the swing tackle.
Right there for you to see, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I mean, but it is also clear that Leatherwood, obviously, it's not slam dunk for him. He hasn't taken control of that spot, right?
Yes. So we're talking about the depth chart right already, guys. We kind of already deep dived a little bit into it.
All right.
So let's bring it up a little bit. We kind of talked about it, right? Leatherwood kind of started off with that, which is kind of the big surprise, right? So let's bring it up. Let's bring up offense altogether. I mean, it's pretty simple around. Of course, Devontae Adams is number 1. Usually teams these days, what do they usually start off with? 11 personnel here, right? But we got some 21. This is some pure
a little twist here, right?
Some 21 personnel, right? Now we got Hunter Renfrow as wide receiver 2, which he really is. If you think about it, he naturally is wide receiver 2, right? So we thought that was interesting. What are your thoughts on that? BJ? So what are you thinking?
When I look at this depth chart, to me, this makes it seem as though if the Raiders were to come out in 21 personnel, meaning 2 backs, quarterback, 2 backs in the backfield, a tight end, and there's only two wide receivers out there. You know, your dad's football, right?
Mhm.
Pro personnel, 21 personnel. That means the X would be Devontae Adams, and the Z would be Hunter Renfrow. I said that to you, and you disagreed, or you said that that doesn't seem like maybe what you envisioned with McDaniels,
Mhm.
but that's what the depth chart looks like to me. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think it matters in certain situations. I think you'll see that probably in the red zone. I think you'll see him out there, so they can get him isolated one on one on some of those shorter
Yeah,
routes that they really like. They're really working that in the red zone when I was out there. Was a lot of the shorter routes that they do, where they can get him isolated one on one and he can do his thing. I think they're going to do a lot of that. A lot of the fades. We're going to see a lot of that with them, but they're not going to use him on fades. They're going to use him on a lot of shake routes and isolate him. I think.
yeah,
So I think when you see that 21 personnel, hell yeah, he's gonna be out there uh, at that point. But one thing I pointed out to Matt Holder, and I asked him if he's ever seen a drill where like they just separate the slot receivers from the wide receivers, right, from the outside receivers. And he was like, not really, and because it was so interesting to me that how they did that. Like he only did like slot work. Like he didn't do a lot of outside
Renfrow.
receiver work. Yeah, Renfro, DJ Turner, and I think Justin Hall, they mainly did slot work, right? A lot of the slot, the option routes. You know what I'm saying? So you know, we're out here giving out whatever. But
So, question, real quick,
yeah,
question: When McDaniel's gets into 21 personnel, does he first of all does he get into 21 personnel?
heavy. We're
Heavy.
gonna see a lot of
Okay.
that. Or they
So he
most in
does
the
get into
NFL.
21 personnel. Is he condensing the wide receiver down, and is that wide receiver inserting and blocking very often? Like, do we see that guy as like a lead blocker type? That extra wide
Uh,
receiver?
it depends on the formation. So like if they're doing like a lot of their crack tosses, you'll see that they like to have those guys be those type of receivers, get physical and get that push. Hunter Renfro can do that, but how much do you want to put him in that type of position? So,
Right.
the last couple of years, they haven't really had that short, sneaky, sneaky athletic slot receiver out there in New England. I mean, they had Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers is more like a Devontae Adams type of player, in my opinion. I'm not saying he's Devontae Adams, but he's more of that. He's not. He's not Hunter Renfro. Okay, and so it's gonna be
I'm
interesting to see how
I'm
they use
laughing
him.
at the sneaky athlete comment. That's pretty good. They haven't had a coach's son out there, you know.
Exactly. So since
Quick,
the
quicker than fast, quicker than fast, quicker than fast.
quick
Okay.
and fast guy,
He's a
but
hard worker. I'm sorry. That makes me weak. Those jokes are very funny. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So
uh,
that's not necessarily the archetype of what you've seen McDaniel's have like the last couple years, last few years. I completely agree with you. I'm with you on that. But what about Edelman? Edelman would line up as Z though, right? He would line up as Z in 21 personnel last couple years.
uh,
No,
at times, but like, uh, you know, I mean, you might be right on that. Because I haven't really watched when when Edelman was there. I really haven't sat back and watched that kind of offense. Because I watched a lot to 2017, but that was with Danny Amendola. But Amendola didn't really go outside. I mean, Amendola
right.
was in a slot. They had
I
Chris
mean,
Hogan moving around.
look,
So
are we saying Hunter Renfro is going outside? No, we're talking about one personnel group, and obviously Hunter Renfro is going to be a slot god, right? Like that's going to
yeah,
be his thing,
yeah,
right?
he's good. Yeah,
So yeah, we know that, but there is like a little wrinkle that we're talking about rundowns. Maybe Hunter Renfro lines up outside. It's probably not as big a deal as what we're making it right now, but
yeah.
in that situation, I mean, I think that the really valid point that you brought up, getting them lined up out wide, getting them in and out, on the goal line. I like that. Let's talk about Keelan Cole real quick.
Okay.
You talked about him, okay, a few weeks ago. Maybe that was last week actually. At a camp, I heard a lot of talk about Tyron Johnson.
Yeah.
I heard about Demarcus Robinson. I guess a lot. There was another guy.
Matt
People
Collins.
were, yeah, Matt Collins. We're talking about okay. Keelan Cole looks like solidly like he is in control of his destiny here, backing up Hunter Renfro's spot. It seems like on the depth chart. It seems like in 11 personnel, with 3 wide receivers out there, who are we going to look at, or who did you see out there? Was it Keelan Cole on the outside, or was it Matt Collins on the outside with that first personnel grouping?
It was Tyron Johnson. It wasn't. It was Tyron Johnson and Matt Collins were going back and forth. Keelan Cole really didn't get any run with the first team when I was out there. So that's why I thought that was interesting. I mean, he is the veteran player. You might expect him to do that, but I think Tyron Johnson has to step on him, and just from a more explosive and younger player. Yeah, I mean, I think Keelan Cole should make the team over DeMarcus Robinson, and I really like this depth if they had this five right here, man. So you got Devontae Adams, Matt Collins, Tyron Johnson, Hunter Renfrow, Keelan Cole. Because to be honest,
only 5.
If they had,
go six wide receivers.
I mean, they're probably going to go 6, but if they're going to go 6, I would take. I don't know. I really like.
You think you think 5 because they're going to keep 5 backs?
No, I'm not even saying they're going to keep 5 wide receivers because I think they still might keep 6. Because that's just what you do in today's NFL. You need as many wide receivers as you need, right? Yeah. So, and I think they're going to pass a lot. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're going to pass a lot.
Okay. All right.
So, but I'm just saying is that if that's your main 5. If that's your main 5 and then you have a 6th guy behind that, I think that's a really stacked wide receiver room. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Keelan Cole, who would start for like the Jags or something, and then or the Texans, and then
literally,
or Tyron Johnson, right? That's kind of my thing with that. Like a lot of these guys is pretty stacked because even if they keep DeMarcus Robinson, that's a good 6, man. So
right, that is a great 6. Yes,
so that's a great 6. So they're really stacked at wide receiver. I think a running back they're really stacked too. I know Brandon Bolden's probably gonna make this team. Even though, I think he's just gonna make it just because he's just Brandon Bolden. Zamir White has a great shot. I think Amir Abdullah, man, he's a kick returner. He's already got a kick returner spot. And
he's already starting.
He's been running with the first team. I should find that picture and put up on the board. I should make it the cover of, with Amir Abdullah just running right next to Derek Carr, everybody ignoring it. You know what I mean? Like he's out there with Derek Carr like a lot, guys. Like nobody's. It's 22. Like he has long hair. It's like he's short. It's pretty noticeable to me. I don't get it. Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake. Staring at Alex Leatherwood the entire practice, like they can't see anything else.
It's crazy to me. Because nobody's talking about that, man. He's getting a lot of run. Like it's just more than I was expecting. Like, why is he getting? Okay, Amir Abdullah. All right, Amir, learn that playbook or something. He's learned that playbook or something.
It's funny because on the depth chart here, he's 4, but I think 4 wide receiver, 4 backs. Yeah, they're going to keep 4 backs for sure. And then, and they're going to play around with the pup. They're going to play around with the injury reserve, partially or injury reserve. They're going to keep like 6 of these guys around on the roster, stash a couple, something like a guy like Britton Brown on the practice squad. Who's gonna poach Britton Brown off the practice squad?
he ain't played a snap yet.
Straight to the practice squad. Thank you very much, sir, for your service.
Yeah, because Zamir White's making this team because he looks good, man. I think Zamir White
good.
He looks explosive.
So then, to me, it sounds like Bolden's on the bubble.
If I had to take, I think Kenyon Drake might be a little bit on the bubble. They can't cut him because of the price. They might be trying to be looking to trade him, I think, or something. Try to ship him off.
Oh, I see what they're gonna do. He's gonna go crazy in preseason. They're gonna have a package of like 8 plays to highlight Kenyon Drake. Drive that trade value up, baby.
Yeah,
get someone to take a chance on the salary. Guaranteed.
I don't know, man. You might have a point there, man. I don't know because he was running with the 2s a lot. That's what I was saying. I was like, is he gonna play an Hall of Fame game? That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe not though. But I think Zamir White has to get a lot of run in the Hall of Fame.
He's got to play. He's got to play in the Hall of Fame game.
He's got to get a lot of run. Him
and Britton Brown. That's it.
No, Brown's not gonna play. He's hurt, man. Brown's hurt.
Right, then what about this guy Austin Walter? Who is that?
No, that's a camp body.
So then Zamir White just played the entire game, 30 carries. Zamir White, 300 yards rushing. Let's go, baby.
All right. So I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, a little bit more of the offensive line, I guess. We can talk about when we get to. We haven't got to defense yet. We got
Oh,
so
okay. You want to talk about offensive line real quick? Okay, there was one
real
thing
quick.
that
So we got
stuck.
Illuminor's at guard, which I thought was interesting because he played no guard at camp.
Okay.
Um,
Who's this
so
Grossu guy?
Grossu. See, it was interesting. Grossu got some run during the rushing period. He got some run with Derek Carr playing guard, both guard spots and center.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds really good, actually.
Yeah. So I mean,
how tall is this guy? Is he big?
No, he's not big at all.
He's a smaller interior
yeah.
offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but Andre James, he looked really good, man. So, he's Andre James must watch tape don't lie on my slander. So he's been motivated.
All right, good.
All right, yeah. All right, but I thought that was interesting. The last couple of things, I don't think these other tackles are really going to get any run. I think it's just Leatherwood, Miller, and Parker. Parker's a swing tackle, and I think that's how it's going to go because I think Leatherwood looked better than him in pads. I'm gonna keep it real. Max Crosby just bull rushed him, and Brendan Parker got bull rushed like they've always been getting bull rushed for 5 years. So, when I saw that one-on-ones, I was like, same guy. All right, checked off. Still can't stop a bull rush.
Same guy.
Same guy. All right, BD. Your defense now. Anything stand out to you on defense here?
Yeah, so there's a couple things that are interesting
to me about this. First of all,
like they did with offense, they went with the base personnel grouping on defense. A 4-3 is the base, right? Usually NFL depth charts, they'll have like at least like a third corner out there minimum. And nowadays they only have 2 linebackers on the depth chart, right? So that was interesting. So if that's the case, if this is the starting 11 in base personnel, it would suggest at least that Nate Hobbs is starting on the outside. You saw Nate Hobbs in camp.
Mm-hmm.
He played on the outside in camp?
Inside and outside.
He played inside and outside, yes. Okay, so
I'll explain it like this. It like this. So when Anthony Averett and Rocky Sin and him were on the field, he was inside.
Right.
And if they moved out like Anthony Averett, brought in Meek Robinson, that he would move outside, and then Rocky Sin would stay outside, and then he would
Meek would play
like
nickel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it would rotate like that.
Got you. Okay. So he's playing both spots. That's fun to know. That's good. That's great to know, because to me that sounds like they're going to try to feature Nate Hobbs this year.
Yeah.
So it's definitely gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, finish your thought because I'm moving on to something else.
Yeah. Because Vinny Buswell, he actually asked me on the radio. He asked me if he could see Nate Hobbs being moved around as a matchup, and I was like, I mean, the way they're moving around in camp, I mean, maybe they see him that way. So, and I was even talking about even because he's long enough to guard Travis Kelce if he has the ability and stuff like that. He it's a matchup that they could work on. So I don't know.
Well, the matchup is the physicality aspect. That's what the matchup is for Nate Hobbs, right? Especially like tackling on the perimeter, and this Patrick Graham comes from. Here, I'm going to take this off while I talk about this.
Okay.
Patrick Graham comes from a cover 2 philosophy, coverage-wise, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when you come from that philosophy, you want corners who could tackle. Rock Yassin comes from Colts. They play a ton of cover 2. He's already versed in that. You had Nate Hobbs in the nickel last year coming forward and tackling a lot as a linebacker. So these guys are already physical corners. You get in that cover 2. You want to get in that cover 2 when you're in base or whatever it is. You want a corner out there who can tackle, right? You don't want necessarily to throw Meek Robertson out there or even Anthony Averett. These guys are kind of slender, smaller guys. Put an Nate Hobbs out there, and that's the matchup. You have the physicality at least.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then we'll see what coverages they play, and all that stuff. So we'll see about that for Nate
They play
House.
they play primarily cover two on Saturday. I know that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah, man cover like man and cover two a lot. So
yeah.
um,
So the other
what else
thing
we
that
got
I
here?
wanted to talk about just the base personnel grouping. Okay, if we look at this base personnel grouping, everyone has a backup except for Divine Diablo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Divine Diablo listed at outside linebacker. He is a one of one outside linebacker on this roster.
Yeah.
There's no others like him. Okay.
Okay.
So to me, this seems like, okay, you get into that base personnel grouping. You don't have to change the rules of your defense. Guess who's playing nickel? Divine
Divide the
Diablo.
oh, interesting.
And that's your base personnel grouping. So to me, that's super interesting because
Okay.
we're going to see Divine Diablo lined up like, okay, where is it going to be? This is going to be like, is it going to be
Uh,
outside covering down? Is
uh,
it going to be in the, I think Divine Diablo, they have a role in mind for this guy. And he's the only one who can pull it off clearly. Okay. So, and because of his defensive background, because he just got done playing safety at a high level, Power 5 conference, ACC, tons of plays, like he's played DP at a high level, having him come and play maybe like a sub, nickel linebacker role as a base personnel, I think that's right up his alley for sure. So that's something that jumped out at me. But I'm gonna let you take over. Do you have any other? You have comments before keep on going on this?
yeah. I mean, that was a very interesting comment about thought process. I thought he looked really good in the one-on-ones against running backs. So that was
Yes.
he looked really
Yes.
good in those drills. Defense tackle is worrisome. You know, it's just not very. It's not. Those names just aren't sexy. You know what I mean? Like, they're just not. You know, there's no excitement. Like you look at everywhere else, you're like, there's a little bit of excitement everywhere else. Like, yeah, Trayvon Moore, yeah, Nate Hobbs might take a next step. Diablo, Perryman, Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, and you get the defensive tackles like, woo.
Did you see anything out of any of these guys?
No, not. I mean, Matthew Butler looked really dope in one-on-ones. He was eating people up.
Yeah.
Other than that, not really. They're getting pushed around, bro. They're getting pushed around the right game. The linebackers did a better job when they're trying to, they try to do a lot of the crack tosses and stuff like that. They like to do. They're able to get around the corner, and the defensive ends plays well. I thought Kuntz played well, and even Sean Bauer had some good reps. So that's my sneaker right there, Sean Bauer. That's my. He was killing people one-on-ones, man. He was eating those young boys up. he's a he's my sleeper right there. But I thought the linebackers looked really good. It's just the defensive tackle, man. It's just whew.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with this. I'm not surprised to see Vernon Butler at the end of the depth chart, but I am surprised to see Jonathan Hankins and Neil Farrell back there. I think that the one thing that those three players all have in common is that they're all like 6'4", 330 pounds. So either there's a conditioning thing going on right now, or those guys are just kind of like battling for like one spot.
Yeah,
Right.
I was. Yeah, Farrell wasn't getting like really any run with any first team, him or Matthew Butler. Matthew Butler and them, they were really behind. I would say the guys who are getting the most run with Billings, Vickers, and Peko. So that was the kind of the ones for defense, right?
Yeah.
And it's not gonna be as much as a rotation like they are with the offensive line. They're kind of just playing around with stuff a little bit. This is kind of more legit who's going to be behind these guys. And
This is
Vickers,
not
yeah,
good enough. Not good enough. So
yeah.
all I'll say about this defensive line, I'll say this about the defensive line. Okay, depth chart. There is a player who just got cut off the Miami Dolphins named Matthew. What's his name?
Adam Butler, yes.
Adam Butler, not Matthew Butler. We got Matthew Butler. Adam Butler. I did a free agent tape don't lie breakdown. I think it was 2 years ago. I like the guy. He's a sick player. Oh, and he also played with the Patriots. I believe Patrick Graham was his defensive line coach maybe like 4 or 5 years ago at one point during his career. So I'm hoping maybe they bring that guy in because he would instantly start on
Yeah.
like this is the cupboard is bare. Neil Farrell and Matthew Butler need to start winning out and beating these guys out in front of them in a major way. So I mean, we'll see how long it takes for them to turn the corner. But until then, inside is I think susceptible.
It's a big question mark, man. They got no push either day.
Yeah.
I mean, you're depending on Kyle Pecco and Kendall Vickers. You know, I mean, Andre James looked like a superstar, bro. I'm telling you. Those dudes, I get past it.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
That sucks. Okay. All right. So that's doom and gloom. But I think let's go back to the secondary. Okay. We talked about Nate Hobbs already. We talked about Mika Robertson a little bit, but I think that this is going to be interesting because when I watched Patrick Graham's defenses before, it would be getting into like nickel as their base, and it would be like a bigger nickel. A lot of times it would just be a safety like Jabril Peppers as like the nickel, right?
Yeah.
Or even even Logan Ryan would sometimes play that spot. Okay.
Yeah.
And those guys are safeties on the depth chart on the roster. You know, they line up at safety in the game. They never line up outside, right? They are inside players. They're safeties, okay?
Yeah.
And then sometimes, you know, like a 3rd and long or something like that, now they would bring in a real nickel, like an actual corner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think you bringing up, okay, starting with Nate Hobbs and then like in the slot and then moving to Nate Hobbs out to the outside and then getting Mika Robertson in the nickel. I think there's definitely going to be a matchup that they're going to be after there. Yeah. And having both those personnel groupings, I think Mika Robertson, he's going to play nickel this year for sure. Book it.
Yeah.
He will be in there. Not like starting every single game. There might be even games where we don't even see Mika Robertson. It's possible, but just judging from like the games that I've watched with Patrick Graham, he will throw every single personnel grouping out there. We will see every single one ever known to man. So we will see all these guys that are near the top of the depth chart. The other things as far as the safety goes that I want to talk about, obviously Trayvon Merrick starting a free safety. Jonathan Abram got a lot of praise from Graham about, you know, just his maturity and work ethic and things that I think people don't usually ascribe to Jonathan Abram because of Hard Knocks. We saw a young guy being kind of brash and everyone made a judgment about him. And, you know, so a lot of good things about Jonathan Abram. He's come in, it looks like taking control of the strong safety position. So I'm glad to see that. Not that beating out Deron Harmon and Roderick Teamer is necessarily something I should give him too big of a pat on the back for. But what's interesting here is the back, and it's the back of the depth chart at the safety position. They will not keep more than 5 safeties, and if they keep 5, that would be shocking. They'll probably keep 4 only, right?
Yeah.
So. These guys at the back, like Quinterio Cole and Tyreek Gillespie, Matthias Farley, and Isaiah Palamau, are probably not. None of them are probably going to make the roster. But it's interesting to me that Quinterio Cole is above Isaiah Palamau and up there with Tyreek Gillespie, who's a draft pick. I watched Quinterio Cole after they took him as an undrafted free agent. I was like, okay, I like this guy. This guy can I like the way he moves. I like his footwork. He's a sound player, fundamentally sound. And then I had to search for his pro day, and it was like the worst athletic profile of any DB in the NFL. He ran like a 4.9 and he had like a 27-inch vert or something like that. It was horrendous athletic profile. Okay. So the guy is not an NFL athlete. Okay. I was doing better than that when I was in high school. So, and I'm not an NFL athlete. So he's not like you know, it's questionable, obviously, but he's up there with Tyreek Gillespie. You know what I'm saying? And above Isaiah Palamau, whose uncle is the running back coach, and you know, and Troy Polamalu is his cousin or whatever. So, Quinterio Cole, the terrible athletic profile, is up there above those guys. So clearly, those guys aren't making the roster.
See, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm saying Gillespie got a lot of play, and so did Palomar. They play way more than Conterio Cole. I mean, because Roger Teamer's hurt right now, right? So he's not going to play, and him and Jonathan Abram collided. Nobody knows what's wrong with Teamer. He hasn't come back, so that has opened the door for all these safeties, right? So that fourth position that you're talking about is open. And
All right.
I think Gillespie has a chance to take it because they are giving him the chance to take it. He's the one who's getting the run. He's the one getting the snaps to have that chance. But Palomao's getting those snaps too. He's getting a couple of them. He's not getting a lot, but he's getting a couple of them. So
all right.
So
I like to
Roger
hear that.
Teamer is hurt. So you might be right with just the aspect of seeing that, but what's happening on the field might be different because Teamer's out and Gillespie and Palomar are getting play. Notorious Crow's not getting play. I really didn't really notice him out there early. So
Okay, good. I'm glad.
If he made the final 53, I'd be pretty upset. At the depth level.
Maybe he's beating the odds, man. Instincts, bro. Instincts and
I think Roger Teamer, that being your fourth guy, that's your fringe guy. Someone beating him out, Tyreek Gillespie, and him battling for that fourth fringe. That's solid safety depth in the NFL.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, a guy who runs a 4.9 being your first safety is okay. You can't find anyone better than that. No offense, my man, but it's scary. Okay, I'm a fan of this team. I wish you success on another team. Yeah. So also when they cut down Levitt, that was okay, the depth is getting better. So I think across the board, looking at this team, wide receiver, obviously we talked about sick depth, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think running back, that looks like a strong room.
Yeah, it does.
You could, if you went into that game, a game with your fourth running back, and then that's Amir Abdullah, shoot, I'm going for it, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem like that big a deal. So the depth in the running back room, I think skill positions, it looks good. What about offensive line? How would you rate that? Depth?
It's not that great, but I wouldn't say how many NFL teams have great depth at the offensive line. I think you just have to have that main seven, and I think they got that main seven, and they can kind of switch around, move around.
It seems like there's a fight though. It's going to be a fight for that 70 because it seems like there's about 8 or 9 guys, right?
Yeah. I mean, the grass out. I think he might have a chance to make this team too and sneak on there. I think they might keep 8 offensive linemen though, 8 or 9. So we'll see that. We'll see how many they keep, but I think they're going to keep a good amount. But I think they're going to kind of keep with that same 7 though. That 7 that you see with the Parham and Leatherwood and Parker. Those are the main backups because Parham can fill in a bunch of different spots. If somebody goes down, and they can work it around and work some other things around. So, But yeah, I mean, as I'm saying, they got a lot of depth on this team. Probably one of the better Raiders teams you can see. So, in my opinion. All right, BD. Any last thoughts before we get out of here, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think the depth on defense, I think it definitely is encouraging. Looking at Chandler Jones and Max Crosby on the outside, stuff like that. Obviously, interior defensive line, we already talked about it. Won't hop on it too much. That's the biggest question mark. You told me you're not seeing a lot of great things out of him in camp. That's what we're going to be watching preseason. This game rolls around here on Thursday, right? That's where I'm going to be watching on defense for sure. By the way, so what are our plans for that? What are we going to do for that one?
We'll probably just do some kind of live stream afterwards, something like that. Probably just do that, and then we'll do that, and then do some breakdowns of what we can get. I guess you know what I mean.
All right, so we'll see what we can get.
We'll see. Get, man.
Yeah.
All right, all right, guys. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. PandaSubs.com. Panda Supplements discount code TDL for 35% off. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys later. Peace.